Beat it up like.
Welcome back. Today I'll be reacting to the updated version of The Most Beautiful Life Goes On, a story of BTS. Shout out to The Asian Theory. Please subscribe to him if you haven't already. I saw the first documentary and I know y'all had a lot of critiques about it. You didn't think that he did an adequate job at highlighting some of the hardships that they went through in order to achieve these great heights. And I could definitely see your perspective, but for some reason y'all still recommended that I check out the updated version anyway. So I'm wondering what's been added that wasn't there previously, and what could I expect to see?
Today, everyone knows the name of BTS. They've been invited onto late-night talk shows, they've shattered records, they've sold out stadiums, they've made it onto the big screen. These days, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who didn't know who these guys were, or at least haven't heard one of their songs.
At least up until last week.
They don't, either they've been living under a rock, or they're 100 years old. The success of the Bangtan Boys is worldwide, but it wasn't always like this. The very existence of BTS can be owed to its founding father, an innovator by the name of Hitman Bang. His idea to create a rap group was somewhat inspired by YG.
Honestly, I don't think their success can be, or their existence, quote unquote, can be owed to him. Primarily, sure, he discovered them, and the way events unfolded, it just seems so serendipitous, even though I do believe in this notion of fate. With that being said, I don't know, something tells me they would have made it anyway.
In the 90s, he experimented with this idea with different trainees, eventually choosing 7 members. And while 3 of them eventually left, the remaining 4, Teddy, Danny, Jinhwan, and Baekhyun, debuted in 1998 as One Time. Their first album, titled One Time for Your Mind, was one of the year's best-selling albums and won several awards, including the Global Disc and SBS Music Awards for Best New Artist and KMTV's Award for Best Hip Hop Artist. The group enjoyed...
Now, y'all, I remember seeing this, so should I skip ahead? Will y'all be mad if I skip ahead?
J Balvin,
Right,
Carly,
we're gonna do
in
that.
the original video.
Do that. Hopefully y'all don't get mad, but I did see the first 30 minutes of this, so my aim is to see the last 10.
And on the Global 200, where they actually replaced themselves at #1, the first artist to do so ever.
And if you want to see my first reaction, I'll put it in the link in the description below, and I'll also throw it in the comments as well if you want to see my full reaction to the previous documentary that he did.
And this is where we stopped in the original video, October of 2020. So what's happened since then? Well, not much. On November 20th, their 5th studio album, B, was released, featuring the hit single Life Goes On. B was met with critical acclaim and hit #1 on Billboard 200 and the World Albums Chart, the 5th BTS album to do so, along with topping worldwide charts in countries like Belgium, Canada, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, and of course their hometown, South Korea. And in spite of all these accolades, perhaps the biggest winner was Life Goes On. A synth-pop showstopper encouraging its audience to continue living life even in the midst of a global pandemic. The message was clear: don't give up, life goes on. It hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, the 3rd BTS song to do so. BTS gave
It beat positions.
fans what they wanted with Life Goes On. Life Goes On joined the exclusive club of only 8 songs to ever top the Billboard Hot 100 that were not in English, a title most recently held by Despacito. But it was the first to do it in BTS's native tongue, Korean.
Leap of Bad Bunny and Tiny. Intentions by Justin Bieber and Quavo. Dynamite by BTS.
The same month, the Academy announced that BTS's Dynamite would be nominated for the Best Pop Duo Group Performance, along with songs by J Balvin, Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, and Taylor Swift. This marked the first time a Korean pop artist was nominated for a Grammy. In December, BTS was invited to sing for Disney's holiday sing-along. And on New Year's Eve, Big Hit put on a New Year's concert where they performed again. things looked really good for BTS and their Grammy nomination, especially since on March 4th, 2021, the official news came. The International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, or IFPI, announced BTS as the Global Recording Artist of the Year, an award given to the best-selling artist of 2020, period, beating out 9 other prominent Western artists, making them the first artist from Korea, but perhaps more importantly, the first non-English artist to do so. Later that month, the Grammys, the main event that everyone was waiting for, finally arrived.
Like I said in the previous video, we gotta stop giving these like white-owned companies and media conglomerates so much praise and credit, you know. And if it just so happens that every once in a while, you know, people of color get robbed from, you know, winning a Grammy to a less talented, or not less talented, I don't want to say that, but a song or a music video that was not as high quality as we think it is, we can't be angry at the Grammys. We can't be, because we're giving them too much power at that point. We don't need the Grammys to validate our favorite artists. We could give them our appreciation. We can give them, you know, their recognition, and it could come from us, the fans, you know. The Grammys is just like, that thing is so subjective and corrupt anyway.
With bated breath, BTS and the world watched. And, well...
And the Grammy goes to Rain on Me, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande.
Wow.
Rain on Me, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande.
They didn't win. However, they made history for being the first South Korean artist to perform at the Grammys, after presenting at the Grammys the year prior. March 31st.
I mean, just look at that though. How do you place #1 in like damn near all the charts, clean sweep pretty much? And then there's this one that tells you you're not good enough. Like, you didn't make the... Nah, man, the Grammys is... It's a joke, and it has been for decades now.
First 2021, Big Hit Entertainment officially rebrands as HYBE and completely revamps their organization. BTS now falls under Big Hit Music, which is now a subsidiary of HYBE Labels, a division of the HYBE Corporation. 2 days later, HYBE acquires Scooter Braun's Ithaca Holdings. Scooter Braun Projects is a subsidiary of Ithaca Holdings that manages several artists, including Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, J Balvin, Carly Rae Jepsen, Black Eyed Peas, Demi Lovato, and others, which means that those artists are now part of the same family as BTS. Then, at long last, BTS announced their highly anticipated follow-up single to their smash English hit, Dynamite. And that single was Butter. May 21st, 2021.
Oh yeah, I reacted to that.
It didn't disappoint. The retro summer pop hit met immediate success, and on May 26th, the BTS meal launched.
Got the BTS meal at McDonald's.
Yeah, that happened. June 16th, BTS releases their third Japanese compilation album known
McDonald's,
as BTS.
I know that it's unhealthy and shit like that. It's, you know, but those chicken nuggets slap.
The best. It instantly hit #1 on Japan's Oricon chart and sold over 1 million albums. The first and only Korean boy group so far to accomplish this feat. The new Japanese single, Film Out, was released 2 months earlier and debuted at #1 on the Oricon chart. And as an interesting fact, charted at 185 on the Billboard 200 excluding US chart, joining Dynamite.
What song is this playing in the background? I've heard this before. I think I reacted to it, in fact. Either way, I love how it sounds acoustically.
And life goes on, making BTS the only artist to ever have 3 songs in 3 different languages on the Billboard 200. On July 1st, following an organizational restructuring, the HYBE Corporation announced that Hitman Bang, our same Hitman Bang who got the boys together, resigned as CEO of the company in order to focus on his passion for music production. And while he is still the chairman of the board of directors, he was replaced as CEO by Park Ji-won. On July 7th, BTS became official models for Louis Vuitton as they walked the runway for part of their men's fall-winter 2021 collection. They were named as ambassadors only 2 months prior, and then for their teaser trailer, they forgot to put V in the video. And finally, that brings us to July 9th. Permission to Dance, which was released only a few days ago. The hit song, which was written by Ed Sheeran, spreads positive vibes as the world starts to recover from the global pandemic.
Wow, that's right. Y'all told me that Ed Sheeran wrote that song. Yo, I want to hear him do a cover though. Low key, like an acoustic cover. You know?
Its YouTube debut saw 72.3 million views in the first 24 hours, placing itself at number 6 of the top 10 most viewed music videos in the first 24 hours. Out of BTS's past 5 singles, 3 of them have been fully in English. And while this trend has been concerning for some fans who have been wanting more traditional Korean pop songs, there's no denying that BTS has enjoyed global recognition like no other international and particularly non-English group before them. And that itself is a sign of success that can't be ignored. And as a fun fact, there's a line in the song referencing legendary singer-songwriter Elton John.
When it all seems like it's wrong, sing along to Elton John and to that feeling.
He gave the song his personal approval. So what makes BTS so special? How did they achieve all this? K-pop is a genre that spans for at least 30 years, and there have been hundreds of boy groups and hundreds of girl groups. What did BTS do to rise above all of them and break through to markets never before
Everything
seen?
they didn't do.
Historically, the boy band industry has been dominated by white English-speaking bands. And the fact that BTS has not only held their own, but blew any sign of competition out of the water on a global scale can be attributed to nothing less than their talent, hard work, and a bit of a 1 in a million miracle. They didn't do.
And I know we also, I disagreed with him slightly on that last time. I think it's fate. I think what happened was supposed to happen. The way the stars aligned for them to meet one another, it was too perfect. There was nothing coincidental about that. No, from beginning to end. Their futures were engraved in stone, much like ours are, if we so choose to eliminate the distractions in our life and pursue the things that we're passionate about, especially if those things that we're passionate about involve being of service to other human beings. Because say what you want, but BTS is providing very valuable service to the entire world with the positive message that they're spreading. In fact, one might be able to argue that they've done more to improve the state of the globe than most politicians. In fact, I don't think that is arguable, because most politicians in most countries, as we know, are corrupt and usually in it for themselves. So, you know, I just think, yeah, they were meant to be as great as they were. They were born that way. And you're born great too. You just got to figure out what it is that you're great and listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and pursue that thing that you're great at. And you might be like, oh man, I don't think I'm great at anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't identified anything I'm great at. I'm mediocre at everything, or you know, I'm great at something that I don't like. No, you're not listening to your heart. You listen to your heart, you will find the answer. You know, you will be pulled in a certain direction. And where a lot of people go wrong is they ignore that. You know, they ignore that little Jiminy Cricket in their soul that's telling them, pursue your passion, pursue your dreams. Forget what everybody else is saying. Just do what makes you happy, and make sure that what makes you happy helps other human beings. A lot of people ignore that inner dialogue. So don't ignore that and you'll be fine. Because you see, these guys, BTS, they didn't ignore that.
Pretty much fallen into obscurity, but BTS is thriving. And though I've stated this all before, it's worth saying again, in contrast to other bands who would sing about romantic relationships with girls and what some would call predictable bubblegum pop tunes, BTS is continuously pushing the envelope and changing their styles. According to an article by Vulture.com, they describe this style as much less a successor of the Backstreet Boys and more of the successors of Michael Jackson, whose choreography and charisma were unprecedented. While of course there's a lot of love for the angelic vocals of BTS, rap has also played a very important part in creating their own style. In stark contrast contrast to the typical boy band where every member sings, it's so refreshing when you're in the middle of a song and you hear RM's raw rapping skills, J-Hope's energy, or Suga's soul put into every single line. Interesting.
And they're all good at different things, man. That's the thing too. If you're one of those people who you thrive in working in teams and on projects and stuff like that, make sure that wherever you end up, whatever you do, if you're in a position to hire someone, you know, you're an employer, hire people with different skill sets, man. Because they're going to balance each other out. Don't hire people that are exactly like you. And if you're looking to, you know, you don't want to be with people who are exactly like you, like carbon copies of you. You want to be with people that will, you know, clear up certain deficiencies, certain weaknesses that you have, and make you stronger in that area. And you also want to have something to offer them, to help them compensate for the parts that they are not as strong at, you know. The best advice one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given was actually by a therapist, and he said, you always want to have people in your life who can mentor you, you know, people who have seen it all, people who can mentor you. You want people you can mentor, people you can guide and help along the way, people who are on the same trajectory, and also people who are on the same trajectory as you are and are at the same level, you know. So you want somebody who can mentor you, you want to be able to mentor someone else, and you also want to be able to bounce ideas off of somebody who's at the same exact point in life that you are. And I think that was one of the wisest things that was ever said to me. You know, we all need that sense of balance in our lives. You don't want to be one of those people who you're always in a position of authority. You're always overseeing someone, because sometimes you could slip into a very rigid mind state and assume that you know everything, that everything you say and do is right because you're in a position to direct others. And on the other side of the spectrum, you don't always want to be a follower. You don't always want to be the person who, you know, you have all these mentors, you have these people above you telling you what to do and giving you advice about the direction you should take in life, because that ultimately creates conformity, and you know, uniformity and submission and just doing things that you're told without even thinking about it. And you also don't want to just be amongst people who are your peers, you know, people who are on the equal playing field as you, because how are you going to get any better? How are you going to get to your final destination if you don't have anybody mentoring you? You know? So that's what I love about these guys. And I know I'm going on a rant, but I love that some of them, like, were able to compensate for each other's weaknesses. Like Jimin, I hope I pronounced that. Jimin, I hope I pronounced that name correctly the first time. He's been noted as saying, like, he doesn't think he's the best singer and he wants to get better at singing. Well, the good thing for him is that there's somebody in the group who's an awesome singer, and vice versa. There are guys in, I forget who it was, but there was a guy in the group who was like, yeah, I really want to get better at dancing. Well, good thing for you, Jimin was a top dancer at, you know, at the school that he went to. So you always want to have, like, you always want to be able to strike a balance in life, you know?
Interestingly enough, at the first glance, it seems that the success of BTS was miraculous, despite not being part of the Big Three. But it can also be argued that their success was because of their separation from the Big Three. Their label, Big Hit Entertainment, whose founder emphasizes artistic freedom more than anything else, allowed them to make their own sound. And going back to BTS universe, it's not often that a K-pop group does something special with each of their songs and albums, utilizing strong storytelling that can go beyond simply the song itself, but rather interconnected with other songs and even other albums to create one large overarching story story. And not only do they all have their own expertise in performance, but also each of them have had the experience of writing and producing their own music, and they're not afraid to let their style evolve over time. BTS during their debut is such a far cry from Wings era BTS and current day BTS. They also chose to tackle more adult issues instead of simply love and girls. While they definitely didn't have a shortage of those, they also cover other very important issues such as mental health, regret, following your dreams, hard work, self-love, and many, many, many others. Add that to the fact that as fans, we can feel the authenticity of the members themselves. They seem approachable. BTS seems like there's a place for every type of fan. And in this fast-paced world where things change at unthinkable speeds, BTS has stayed grounded and faithful to who they were and who they are. Those kids we saw on American Hustle Life, along with their dreams and passions, are the same men who stand before us today. And while some artists like to keep their personal lives private, BTS gives us a look at their personal lives through their vlogs, which allow us to become more connected to them than ever before. What is truly amazing is that they're doing this all while singing in their native tongue, Korean. Their music holds so much power that it literally breaks through the barriers of language. And no, they're not done yet. They've shown that they're capable of dominating music charts across the world and even reaching across the Pacific Ocean and conquering the music industry in the United States.
Yeah,
what's next for them? Mars? In any case, they've only started in 2013 and BTS is as strong as it's ever been. And that's our 2021 update. There's been lots of exciting news for the group so far, and I'm gonna guess that 2021 will still have a lot of surprises waiting for us. Thank you to everyone who watched the original video. We've changed some of the information to make it more accurate or easier to understand. We're always looking to improve our videos, so if you find something that needs improving, leave a comment below.
Awesome. Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job. I know there were criticisms, but he obviously spent a lot of time on this, and you can't get everything on the first try. So shout out to the Asian Theory. If y'all enjoyed this reaction video, however, please comment, like, and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Peace.